everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on the Tube, or welcome back. If this is your third High School Musical, the series, Season 3 episode review. I'm sorry if I sound a little bit tired. The weather has really been affecting me. Let's just say that. It's been a very hot heat wave here in Grand Oak, New York City. Today was the first day where it did not feel like death. It still feels hot as hell, but it does not feel like death, thank God. My body's been going through like the usual, changes in weather since, of course, I have to commute in a very hot environment as well as I have to work in a very cold environment. So my body's been a little bit angsty lately, so I apologize. Just a heads up, by the way, for next week, and then especially for, I believe, the episode 7 review for this series. I believe my timetables are right on that. We will be recording from different locations, similar to when we did. Was season 2? No, actually, never mind. No, this will be the first one in the HSM run. So yeah, so we'll be in different environments. The quality will be different. The camera style will be a little bit different. So bear with me for those reviews. So just giving you the bit of heads up that next week's review will be a little bit different. Will be different from normal. I'm gonna try my best to try and keep it as similar as possible. It's not gonna be possible, but it's gonna somehow be akin to what you're normally used to. But anywho, this week on High School Musical, we're kind of more into the plot. It feels more of a, how do I say this episode, like, I don't know what to say about it. How do I say this correctly? My thoughts are it's going down a predictable path, but also an enjoyable path, as well as we're getting some new things that we didn't get before. Where in terms of just like stuff that I was expecting, like, oh, this is going to be it, or this was going to be it, it turned out not to be the case, and it's all better for it. But then some things are like, okay, are we really need to go down this specific rabbit hole? Do we really need to cater to this crowd? Like, regardless of what the case might be, I thought this episode was good. Definitely, we're kind of like not declining the quality. I'm not trying to say that at all. It kind of felt like this episode kind of was a little stagnant. Like, where we were teetering on with the plot, it wasn't really much of a, we're getting the massive boost that we need. And also, again, I just realized we only get 8 episodes this season. It's the shortest season of the 3. I just realized that. So the fact that we're once again not getting straight into the musical stuff is a little bit concerning. Then again, I've already reviewed this show for like now 2 full seasons. That I shouldn't be surprised about that. But you know what? It does not matter, because at the end of the day, they somehow knock it out home. Hopefully it'll be the case here as well. But anyway, let's go for the butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of High School Musical, the series. So we begin where, not really where last episode left off. It's the next day. Gina is, let's call it, what's the terminology? Serenading Courtney while she's sleeping. Do you want to spill a snowman? And I was like, did we not get this song last week? Did we have to like, I thought we had Camp Rock and we had High School Musical and we have Frozen songs this season. I thought we were going to be stacked on like not repeating songs again, but no, it turns out that Gina woke up very early and saw the cast listing for the play. And thinking about where we were last week and when we were going through the cast listing, I was like, okay, so Carlos was trying to benefit more to the lines of his friends, and a couple of weird things came about. The fact that, oh, wait, I'm Olaf, and the way it was like, Carlos, in terms of his actor, he sold this scene where, like, he's supposed to pretend he doesn't know who the cast is, but then he was surprised, like, wait, how's the cast listing this? Because I changed it. It's all a bit confusing, and not really confused. So in terms of, like, from what I remember, so Gina is Anna, Courtney is Elsa. Ricky is, I forgot the name. He's the male lead. Again for the 3rd damn season in a row, he somehow is again the main male lead. I mean, why, like, okay, Ricky is good, we get that, but you constantly keep changing like the female leads for every play, keeps changing, but again, which I understand, like, you're trying to give some more performance, some more, everyone to get their own chance to shine. But like for Ricky, like, you made Ricky Troy, you made Ricky the Beast, and now you're making Ricky Shvev, is that the name? I forgot what the name is. Christoph. You're making him these male leads. I swear to God, when the season 4 musical rolls around, and I swear to God, if he's the damn male lead again, I'm going to slap you. Then again, we have no choice since I'm pretty sure EJ's out by next season. But anyway. Okay. So moving back onwards. Carlos is playing Olaf. Of all character. I love Josh Gad so much that like I cannot imagine him as it. But anyway, where was I saying with that? Oh yeah. So Ashley is now the chorus. She's part of like the ensemble, like all the musical additional voices that you get during songs, which she's like a bit disappointed by, because of course last season she was Belle, the main lead role, and now this play she's kind of reduced back to like, you know, the back. And honestly, the closest I can make to this is if anyone knows the actress Catherine Lackford, I'm pretty sure I'm getting this wrong. She played the original male. She played. Oh, I haven't watched the show in forever. She played the lead in 13 Reasons Why. Oh God, I forgot the name. It's been so long because I blocked that show out of my mind, because like, oh my God, that show. Someday we're gonna talk about it, and I'm gonna really unpack there. But anyway, so in that show, she was kind of like the focal poster character. Like the entire story, for the most part, was revolving about her and like the lead up to her death. And she was the main lead. Like on set, she was like the focal point. She was like #1 on the call sheet. And then and then she filmed the role for Endgame, and she was just a very, very small part in a deleted scene that no longer is canon to the MCU continuity. So that's kind of how I picture Ashley's feeling. Like she was front and center, and then she got to take all the way to the back. Like, it gotta go to the back. But obviously everyone's trying to cheer on. Like, you know, ensemble's still important. She's still a major part in the show, just because she doesn't get a speaking role. And also, did they not realize that there was not that many female leads in the movie? Like, there's only 2, from what I remember. I haven't seen the movie, so you can't blame me for that. EJ's surprised because he gets picked to play the deer, the reindeer, the buck horse. I forgot the moose. But he's a director too, which I'm like, wait, I'm the director. I'm not supposed to be acting in this thing. And everyone's like, oh, he joined the club of like director / producer / actor, aka he's the Robert Rodriguez of the summer camp play community. Val comes out explaining that like, she knew that Carlos tried to change the damn casting list, and I'm like, how the fuck did you know that? You're always sleeping. And he's like, oh, we have security cameras involved. Which I'm like, you're in a summer camp. Where the fuck is the money for security cameras coming from? I'm just curious, because like a general concern of mine is like, you know, and they actually do get to this a little bit later in the episode. Like, how does the camps even run? Because like I'm pretty sure that the cost to go is not covering a fraction of everything going on. But whatever, it is what it is by the end of the day. So obviously they're not like, okay, so now we start rehearsals. Can we get rolling on the play itself? And she's like, nope, because today is newbie orientation day, where we're gonna go into the woods in the middle of the night, and we're gonna camp out and kind of spend all the freshmen, all the first years, their first time at camp together. And I'm like, okay, so we're really meandering the plot. Okay, let's do that. It's either Val or Gizmo, and I apologize. We're still in the stage of like, I'm still trying to figure out who's who on the show, and they're talking about like how orientation is like the special thing, and then, you know, everyone around here is gonna have a very special first time when they're doing it, because, you know, everyone has had that moment, and they're not really trying to give away any of the secrets that happens during this. EG shows up trying to be a little bit romantical to Gina, and at first it's like very cute. It's very sincere. But a cause for concern a little bit for me is that, well, not really cause for concern, is that when EJ was explaining to her that, oh, he has to like, apparently found that Corbin is coming back tomorrow to start beginning shooting for the show. And apparently the first thing they're going to shoot is the first read through of the script with everyone, as their characters. And he's scared because like he wants the script to be perfect, since already he's thrown out the deep end of like him having absolutely no director experience, having to direct this play that's going to be on Disney Plus. It's a lot for him to handle, to be honest with you. It really is. And, you know, obviously at the same time, Gina's kind of expressing her excitement, and also a little bit of her worriness about taking on the lead role. Like, it's finally her time, like after 2 plays of auditioning, and now she's finally the lead. And EJ's kind of like, again, like, it's understandable why EJ's like that, but this is kind of cliche. Like, the one side is dealing with a whole nother thing, and that's kind of like distracting him from what's important. And then the other partner at first is like understanding, but deep down they're kind of like, okay, it's okay. But deep down they really want to be heard, and they really want to be celebrated. Obviously everyone in the cabin is more concerned about, oh, Corbin's coming back tomorrow, so that means Corbin's coming back next week, which I'm like, finally, It's been a while since we've seen Corbin Bleu up in this bitch. Apologies for my language. Also, just before I continue any further, yeah, Nini's not in this episode, which, again, remember, it's not surprising. I wouldn't be surprised if she doesn't show up to the finale. In terms of, like, that's when her next part is. Hell, I wouldn't even be surprised, like, this was the end of her journey. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm pretty sure she'll come back for another episode or two, but, you know, at this point, it's like, it's so vague of, like, what the hell are we doing with Nini? Like, you know, obviously the last 2 weeks for Nini's character has been great. We got her scene with Miss Jen, and then last week with Jesse Tyler Ferguson's character, aka her real birth dad. So it's pretty cool to see all that. But it's like, what is next for her? Like, you know, are we gonna get to see I forgot the actor's name. He plays Impulse in The Flash now. That's ending now. Oh, I forgot his name. I'm really bad with actor's name. Is he going to come back around? But we don't know. That's not the focus this season. So going back to it, it turns out the whole spiel is like they're camping in the woods, and it's supposed to be the cliche camp scary story. Like they're supposed to, like, you know, do this country song rendition to kind of like kickstart the fear of, like, you know, there's been a history with the camp, and Val's kind of like, you know, kind of work. This is the first time she's going to be performing it, or kind of like setting the stage up herself, aside from being just the listener in previous years. And she's asking EJ to kind of help her with the country song. And of course, EJ's like, you know, I really got to focus on the script. And she's like, come on, you owe me one. And she's like, fine. So they do the song. It's okay. It's not the best, mind you. And, you know, it's kind of difficult for me to get the groove along. And of course, this is trying to tell the tale of, like, the original founders of the camp, and how there was some scary stuff happening in the forest nearby. And again, it's trying to inspire fear. It's really trying to. But the problem is that once Val kind of takes over the flow of the scene, I'm sad to say that eventually she starts misstepping her words, and she starts breaking down the environment too much, and everyone starts, like, joking around, starts laughing, and she's kind of disappointed because, like, this was supposed to be her turn to actually make the fear shine in everyone, and it doesn't happen, and she's kind of bummed by it, and she kind of, like, rushes out. So festivities are over. Everyone's kind of, like, just peering off into bed. Courtney can't find Carlos anywhere, so she heads out into the wilderness to find her. And oh yeah, there's a scene where Ricky talks to the kid from last week. I forgot his name already. Well, I didn't already remember his name, but the kid who, like, really performed and at the end last week, who ran off before he can be really finished with his audition. And Ricky's talking about, like, yo, everyone's still talking about your audition, man. Like, you know, what's going on, man? Like, how did you get this good? And he's explaining that, you know, growing up, he's kind of been teaching himself all, like, the music, you know, and the singing. However, eventually, because he loves music so much, it eventually took it down towards with his grades, and his parents thought that he had ADHD, so they put him on a medication, but it doesn't really do anything for him because he doesn't have the disease. And but now all of his life, he's kind of just been focused on, like, yeah, that's your thing, like, this is your problem now, even though, like, they just don't accept that, like, I like music a lot, but they don't really accept it, and it kind of really sucks. So this is kind of the moment where, like, he and Ricky starts to become real, like, at least decent friends, or at least good buddies. Let's just say cabin buddies, whatever you want to say that. But anyway, so going back on words, on Courtney's out in the woods, and she gets scared by Ricky and Carlos. Who, I don't know why they just decided to randomly try to scare Courtney. I mean, it's something I would do, to be honest with you, but, like, this kind of came out of, like, left field, to be honest with you. But regardless of that, so Courtney gets mad. They split off. I want to say at some point, Ricky goes back to EJ's tent to kind of, like, have some fun, trying to get some guy time in. And of course, EJ's, like, focused on the script. And then, you know, Ricky mentioned, like, he found this shrine in the woods, so they should go and check it out. It'll be like a fun mini adventure. Gina over here is piquing in her interest. Ashley comes in because also Ashley's still very torn up about the whole casting thing, about the way she was kind of called, like, a certain name and such. Not really like a bad name, but more like, you know, just in the fact of her, I think her astrological sign, her astro sign, I guess that kind of was insulting to her. I think so. And then Gina just tried to explain to her calmly that, like, you know, hey, look, I'm very happy you got the lead last season, but this season, and, you know, you're not really acting the way we were expecting you to be. Like, you know, you're still part of the play. You're still part of, like, the whole experience. It's just, you know, you're just kind of, like, acting a little bit, like, too over the top about this. And even Ashley being told that doesn't really sit well with her either. So Eventually, once all three of them are in the tent just bothering EJ, he doesn't snap like an outburst, but he kind of like just flicks a bit, like just tries to tell him to back off a little bit while he like he's got a lot on his plate right now, and it isn't sitting well. So Ashley disappears, and Ricky and Gina decide to go hit up the shrine themselves, and totally a platonic way, very totally platonic. So don't worry about that. Eventually, I want to say what happens after that. So they're walking through again. It's a little weird because yeah, we know Gina had feelings for Ricky at some point, and even though they're kind of like starting fresh, like now Ricky's single, he's not really focused on Nene anymore. So it's like, but obviously, like Gina's really interested in EJ as well as her boyfriend, but like it's still like a bit of like a weird like, how do we really tackle this on? Because like yeah, they talked about like what happened in season 2. It was awkward. Let's move forward. But they never talked about was there actual feelings there. That's a thing they have yet to talk about. Meanwhile, during all this, the new kid, the surprise singer, he talks to Val, and turns out they're siblings. And the only reason really why Val came back that summer was not only just to get away from her problems in college, as well as her problems at home, but also just to get away from it all as well as having to watch her brother as her parents don't really trust him being alone all summer, or not all summer, like just this segment of summer. So they kind of begged her to go back out there just so that she can watch him. And she just kind of feels relegated to that role. And, she kind of had no choices. Like everything in her life has been going so wrong lately that going back to Cam being like a surefire, a revamp, like everything is fine, I'm in charge, and then the moment she finally gets to really step up, it fails in her face, and like she's like not dealing with it right now. I kind of feel for her. I can understand her a little bit, and it sucks when things don't go your way, and then even the thing that was kind of guaranteed to like be a happy spot is not. So it kind of does suck. It really does suck in that front. So eventually Ashley apparently retreats to the barn, so she returns back to the barn stage and with the piano, and it seems like in every episode, like everyone's just getting like their own defining third act of the episode solo song, and it was really good. It was really good. I'll give it that. I think it was called Rising or something, but it was a really good song. I definitely was trying to express her current emotion about everything going on, and it really does suck, to be honest with you, that she's going through that. Eventually, Ricky and Gina follow the voice, and they find her in the bar, and they scare her for a bit. And she opens up like, yeah, she's like really, she's really bummed. Like not just because she went from all the way from leading lady status in the last play they were in, and now to like just an ensemble part, but the fact that she was expecting this to be her, like this Disney Plus special, kind of like maybe to be her breakout role and like maybe get some attention and stuff like that. Which I'm like, honestly, man, like I haven't, besides Olivia Rodrigo, but that was mostly her music career, I have not seen a single like actor or actress that began in a Disney Plus show blow the fuck up. Like I could be completely wrong. Maybe I'm just very closed-minded and not paying really much attention. But everyone that's jumped on has already had some previous experience, so I'm just saying that. But eventually, with some talking, they talk for things, and Ashley feels a little bit better, and she's ready for tomorrow. I think eventually, yes, before that, Courtney kind of summons everyone back over to the tent to notice that, yeah, Ricky and Gina are gone, and then they're both saying, oh, they're probably fine. They're just, alone in the moonlight in the middle of the forest. And he's just like, obviously, like super not comfortable with this because like he was so distracted with the play. And then he realized, oh crap, my girlfriend's with a guy that she used to like for a while, and I'm not there to like buffer it. And he's a little worried. Obviously, like, you're teenagers, you can be a little jealous, and he's starting to be a little jealous because this is not the first time Ricky is actually pawned on a girlfriend of his. So it's like, I mean, if Ricky's oblivious to that, I'm like, okay, maybe we need to teach Ricky some lessons. Maybe we do. I want to say, is there anything else I missed? I don't believe so. I think I covered everything. Another awkward Ricky and Gina moment where they just assume they're going to say goodbye as they're supposedly splitting off ways, but they realize they're heading back to the same location. Like, again, it's a little awkward, the dynamic, like as much as they're trying to like start fresh and as much as they're having a little fun together, it's still like, okay, there's still some things we still need to talk about, from the past, but how do you bring that up with everything going out? We don't know, but we'll find out hopefully in next week's episode. So for me, even talking about it again, like, yeah, I thought this was okay. I thought this was we're still downwarding, trending a little bit. Like, it's still doing the traditional HSMTMTS, where we're not focusing much on the rehearsal process. We're kind of sidelining to some camp stuff, which is necessary, which is necessary, but it doesn't feel like this episode really did a lot of like big leads. Like, there wasn't like that big leak moment. Like, yeah, we got the cast listing, we know who's playing who, but besides that, like, it was traditional summer camp fare. We did get to see more about the new characters and kind of just set up more of like where everyone's headspace are at as they inch a little bit closer to, like, you know, the Disney Plus show becoming a reality, as well as, you know, the actual play from happening. Like, there's a lot of moving pieces right now that everyone's worrying about. And the moment they focus too much on one thing, another thing happens, and they kind of realize what they were missing at, i.e. mostly in EJ's case. But yeah, overall, I think it was just another okay. It was an okay episode. All I gotta say about it. Hopefully next week will be a little bit more up since we got Corbin Blue back. Hopefully we'll get Jason Earls back, and then we'll get the really not to say that they're necessary to make the show that was already great on its own. It just feels like that there's something missing, and it could just be the whole separation factor. Like, we don't have the full cast this season, and I do get they're trying to experiment a little bit, but it still feels a little off for me. At least maybe my next week will be better. Who knows? But yeah. But with that being said, this has been What's the Two from ActionX. I'm gonna give this episode 1.5 thumbs up. It was alright. You know, you can say whatever you want to say about that front. Let me know in the comments below, what did you think of this week's episode of HSMTMTS? Let's talk down below. Let's start the conversation down there. And I believe that's going to do it for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's the Two from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the 3rd season of High School Musical, the series. If you want to know what we're doing normally, What's the Two besides our HSMTMTS reviews. Currently, we're not doing anything. We just wrapped our Tom Swift reviews yesterday, so those are over. You can go check them out on youtube.com ActionX as well. I'm really staggering here for a bit. In a couple of weeks, we're starting our Stargirl Season 3 episode review, so stay tuned for that. But for the time being, it's just High School Musical time, baby. So we'll just keep trucking along there. But again, if you haven't been aware, this has been What's the Two from ActionX. Please subscribe to us on youtube.com/ActionX videos. Ring that bell for notification when our next episode reviews live. Please also like or share this review if you want to, as well as follow us on social media to stay up to date with any sort of updates we may have for our channels. But until we see each other again next week for the next episode review, for all you Wildcats out there, I'll see you then. Remember, next week will look a little bit different because I'm not going to be in New York. I'm going to be in Texas for a week. But we're going to keep our review series trucking along. I'll probably be with a dog. I'll probably be in the background. There might be some interference, but we'll find out all about that later. But until then, stay safe out there. Be good to each other. And as always, peace out.